What is up, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube? Grant for one for a review, and I'm back with another movie review. I feel like I say that every video, but it is always true. Now, excuse me if I cough or if I sneeze. I am a bit sick, but I had to get this review out as soon as possible because I just watched Deadpool. Or actually, I didn't just watch Deadpool. I just watched Deadpool 2 yesterday. And man, oh man, I have some thoughts to say about it. But first, I want to say something about Deadpool. I never reviewed it, mainly because I don't think I even... Did we have the YouTube channel? Oh, maybe we did. I don't remember. But I never reviewed Deadpool on the channel before. And I have to mention, when leading up to Deadpool, I have to be honest, I was never hopeful for it. I wasn't excited for it, and I just didn't think it would be good. Because in my mind, I always just kind of thought a normal Deadpool comic, the structure about it would never work as a feature-length film. It would be unfilmable. So I always just kind of had it in the back of my head, this is not going to work. And when I saw the trailers, I was never convinced. I was never like, oh, this is going to work. I just thought like, just be ready to be disappointed, because I had already been disappointed with a few other X-Men movies prior. And I was like, okay, just be ready to be disappointed. Don't expect too much. Then, of course, Deadpool came out. I heard good reviews on it. I saw the good reviews. I saw the great word of mouth. One of my buddies who's a huge fan of the Deadpool comics was excited for it. So I took him out to go watch Deadpool, and we loved it. I love the movie Deadpool. I thought it was terrific. I thought it was funny. I thought it was amazing. I felt like they nailed the character. And the story, while it wasn't amazing, it was such a good sort of spoof on modern romance films, and it was great. It was great. It was exactly what it needed to be. And yeah, the villain wasn't great. He was a punchline, and that's it. It was great. It felt like a Deadpool comic because it wasn't big, grand in scale or anything. It was just a small scale movie, really with nothing much to lose, and it just had Deadpool, and it was great. I loved it. I thought it was great. So you can imagine leading up to Deadpool 2, I didn't know what to think. I got a little bit worried when the original director left for creative differences. I thought, oh, it might be a bad sign. But I thought Ryan Reynolds nailed the character of Deadpool so much. I was like, it has to be at least decent. Seeing the trailers for Deadpool 2, was awesome. I couldn't believe what I was seeing on screen sometimes. I saw things that I liked, things that I loved from the X-Men comics or the X-Force. Deadpool. Cable was on screen. I was like, holy crap, Cable is coming. I couldn't wait. So the more I saw, the more things I read up about it, I was getting very interested. And then, of course, the movie comes out, and oh shit, I just pulled the cable. Oh my god. As the movie came out, or when the movie came out, I went to watch it, and really, what else can I say besides what other people are saying? It's better than the first movie. It is terrific. This movie is absolutely amazing. It is so much fun. It's so funny. It is one of the best comedies I've seen all year or in recent memory, just like the first Deadpool was. I can't stress that out enough. This movie was such a fun ride and an emotional ride, because it's funny, it's hilarious, but then there are moments where it's sad and it's touching. There are so many moments like that, but then it's funny again, and it's not a mess. It has a great balance. And of course, it's Deadpool. So knowing that it is Deadpool, knowing the world that Deadpool is set in, it's like, okay, I can accept some things where it's like, yeah, it's taken away from the serious moment, but it's Deadpool, so it's not supposed to be that serious. But man, oh man, was this movie funny as all hell, and the story was solid yet again, or not yet again, because the first one had a meh story, but it was okay, it was passable. This one is a good story with great characters involved. And oh my god, as an X-Men fan, I just couldn't help but just say, like, oh my god, I'm so happy to see all of this stuff in this movie. So much stuff done justice, like Cable. You know, he was just amazing. Josh Brolin as Cable. It's amazing. Josh Brolin is a terrific actor. I don't know if I've mentioned it, but after watching Avengers Infinity War, I really liked the movie. And coming from me, the person who didn't like the first two Avengers movies, you got to know there's something there when I say I really liked Avengers Infinity War. And part of that was Thanos, played by Josh Brolin, and like how he played the character, his motivations were different. opposed to the comics, which were pretty shitty and stupid and lame. I just loved how he played it. So I was thinking, how could he do Cable? And then he nailed Cable. This guy is great. Josh Brolin is terrific as I don't know, just an actor. He managed to nail Cable and Thanos. And Cable in this movie is absolutely terrific. His backstory is a little bit different from the comics. Then again, you don't really know too much about him. I'm not going to spoil anything in the movie. I'm just going to say it is different from how I remember it in the comics. But that's not to say it's bad. It's just different. Obviously, they need to adapt the comics into a film. Not everything's going to be the same. But as far as the character goes, they really nailed him. The only thing I would say is a little bit kind of, a little bit weird is that he's not as big as Cable should be in the comics. But the beauty of this movie is they even point that out in the movie. They even make fun of the fact that he's not as big as his comic book counterpart. And it was a great moment. I laughed. It was so funny. This movie, it's terrific because there are moments. It has moments in it that it's so worthy of being a Deadpool movie, and it just reminds me of the X-Men comics, Deadpool, X-Force, and all that. And it's so much fun to me as an X-Men fan. It's so much fun to watch the Deadpool movies because it's like they know how to get this universe right, unlike, say, X-Men Apocalypse, which failed. But I'm so happy that even in these movies they get Colossus right, because in the other ones they just kind of fuck around with Colossus. He's in the background. Oh, there's Colossus. And he's like, no, he's such a cool character. He's so awesome. Have him in the movies. And they don't. They have him in here. And I'm so glad they have him in the better version, the better side of the X-Men movies, because he's so funny and he's so great. And it's kind of a touching kind of friendship that him and Wade have, or Deadpool have. It's so fun. It's so creative. It's great. There's a character in this movie, done justice, not part of the X-Men. I don't know if I should spoil it because the reveal is pretty awesome. I'm going to say no spoilers for this review, but there is a character in this movie that is, in the comics, a really great character. I'll say the sibling of a very important character in the comics, and he has been done before, but he hasn't been done justice. Those of you who have seen the other movies and who have seen this movie know who I'm talking about. He's never been done justice in the films. They did him justice here to a certain extent. Of course, the movie's not focused around him. He's just kind of a side character. And he's so badass. It's so awesome seeing this character on screen. Like I said, unfortunately, I can't say who it is because I don't want to spoil the reveal, but it's so great. Also, John DiMaggio is an excellent voice actor. Marcus Phoenix is in this movie, and hearing his voice, it's been so long that I've heard his voice that hearing him was absolutely amazing. Some of you have probably already figured out who I'm talking about already. If you have, you know how cool he is. If you haven't, you can see the movie and you'll see eventually. Again, they actually did his character justice. They even mentioned a little bit of backstory where I was like, yes, finally, he's not a piece of crap anymore. But getting back to the movie, there's just so much good I have to mention here. I have to mention a certain character that I had a problem with before. Or not really a big problem, but Domino. Domino, in the comics, is a very pale woman. A very white woman with a black spot on her eye and with a different color eye. And her mutant ability is that she's lucky. That's the gist of it. Obviously, that's more in depth. But I'm not a big fan of Domino. I've never really been a big fan of Domino. I think she's cool, but I've never been a huge fan of her. Now, leading up to this movie, the actress that they got to play her was by the name of Zazie Beetz. If I mispronounce it, I'm so sorry, because she is fantastic. I was a little bit worried because I was like, why did they get this African-American woman to play a very pale white person in the comics? Again, it wasn't a big problem I had. I was just kind of like, why did they do that? But whatever. Again, probably because if I was a bigger fan of Domino, maybe I would have cared more. But I have to say, Zazie Beetz, I'm so sorry if I butchered your name. She was excellent in this movie. She was excellent. Not only is she a good actress, but she is super funny, super fun. She's not the straight man. She's not the straight man character where she's serious and calm, collective. No. But she does play a little bit of a serious role. But her shtick is that she's lucky. And this is another kind of thing where it's like, how can you film this, really? How would you make this cinematic? They even mentioned that in the movie. And it's like, no, they do a great job. They do have the comedy about how lucky she is, and just like it's such a great character trait in the movie. She's lucky. Like that's it. Like everything goes her way, and that's what's funny about it. Just everything goes her way, and at the expense of others sometimes. Like you see her running in the streets, and it's like there's cars crashing around her, like blowing up. People are dying, and she's getting off scot-free. I thought it was really fun, creative. I thought it was amazing. Getting back to Josh Brolin as Cable, he also did an excellent job as Cable. I need to clarify that he was amazing. He has his very funny lines in this movie. I'm not going to spoil anything necessarily comedic about the movie, except for maybe one thing that I'm going to get to in a moment. And that's at the beginning of this review. I said that there are great moments in this movie. Despite the movie being a solid film, already, there are also great moments that just remind me of the comics. And one moment that I will kind of spoil is, it's not that big of a spoiler, it's just that one moment Deadpool's kind of messing around in the mansion and Colossus is talking to him, and then Deadpool just turns to him and he's like, why is this house always empty? Like, can the studio not just scrounge up a few X-Men characters to fill this place up? You know, kind of poking fun of the fact that in the first movie, there was not that many X-Men, and, you know, they mentioned the same thing. And here, there's just a great moment where after he says that line, the camera pans to an open door, and in the room, it's all the X-Men characters that we've seen in Apocalypse and that we're going to see in the Dark Phoenix movie. You have Beast, you have Nightcrawler, you have Cyclops, Jean Grey, Professor X. Like, they're all there, and then Beast just slowly closes the door on the audience, essentially. Sort of hinting at, oh, we're going to be in a movie, don't worry. I love this moment. Because it reminded me so much of the comics. It was so comic booky. It was so funny. And I just loved it because they acknowledged it and they showed them. It's like, this is great. This stuff is great. And then towards the end, of course, there are other things that are amazing. I have to mention, Logan is all over this movie. Wolverine, you see him a few times. Not actually acting in the movie, but of course as Easter eggs. I really do hope Hugh Jackman just kind of comes out of his retirement for just one more film with a Deadpool and Wolverine film. I would really love that. I know Ryan Reynolds has been trying to get him to do it. I know that Hugh Jackman is kind of tempted to do it. I honestly believe he could do it. I honestly do. Even though he's dead, it's fucking Deadpool. They'll figure a way. I think that's it. I don't want to spoil anything of the movie necessarily. I don't want to say too much more. All I can really say is that I love this movie. If you loved the first Deadpool, there is no reason for you to not love this one. It is funny. It is creative. Great characters. And just some great action. I guess the only real complaints I would have about the movie is, obviously, I guess tonally, it's not the best, but it's a Deadpool movie, so I'm going to excuse that completely. It doesn't need to be on a set tone. Another problem I would say is the CGI at times could look a little bit too fake, but again, I can excuse it. But it is kind of bothersome. And I will just clarify, this isn't the best movie I've ever seen, nor is it the best comic book movie I've ever seen. It's the best comic book adaptation of a character, and various characters, I would say, actually. But it's not a terrific movie. It's just really great. I loved it personally. Just like the first one, I would say this one is better. It tops the first one. I'm so glad that this series has been successful. I'm so glad people are going out to watch this. You don't need to be a comic book fan to watch this movie. And if you are a fan of the X-Men comics, it's really, really fun. It is great, and I loved it personally. So, yeah, my final verdict for Deadpool would be an 8 out of 10. I think this is a great movie with great gags, great characters, great action. What more can you need? And a solid story. But anyways, to finish off, have you guys seen Deadpool 2? If you have, let me know down in the comments below. What did you think? Did you love it? Hate it? Write it down. If you haven't already, please subscribe. And, always come back for more. As always, have a nice day. And I'll see you next time on One for a Review.